Hello, everyone. Today I have a beautiful message to share. It's going to be beautiful for some people and not beautiful for others. I hope it resonates with you. Okay? So I was sitting here and I'm trying to finish some client work, which has nothing to do with this subject. And this message came to me about forgetting how we felt, right? So I was in my inbox and I came upon a really old email. I don't even know what year. It might have been 2017 year, something like that. That old. We are now 2025, okay? So it was this old email that I had sent to someone, right, pleading and explaining my case for like the need for space and what was going on and how heavy I felt and how smothered I felt and all those feelings, right? Those feelings I no longer feel. Like I can read it for face value today because I'm so far removed from the situation, and God does these things to our brain to protect us from pain. So for example, the best example I could think of was we mothers, women, when we have babies, it is when we're pregnant. I don't know about you, but being pregnant was so difficult for me. Like I didn't like being out of control of my feelings, and that sort of thing. I don't recall caring about the fact that I was gaining weight and stuff. It was more so the mental thing. Like I hated feeling out of control of my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions, that sort of feeling, right? I loved the feeling of feeling a baby grow inside of you. Even the pains that came with that was nothing compared to like my frustration with the mental. But then you give birth, and that is painful. That's pretty painful. My second born came pretty fast, but my first took forever. And I don't remember about my third. I think my third also came pretty fast, right? So we live and learn, right? So I was more active during the second two pregnancies, so to speak. That said, I forgot the pain of each pregnancy, therefore had more babies. I think that's God's way of protecting us as mothers and as a species. And the mothers forget the pain that they were once in, right? We forget how painful that moment was because that encourages us to want to procreate again, to make this beautiful soul again with someone that we love, right? And so I think that goes with old relationships as well. You know, relationships that we've had over the years, especially when we're in our adult season. Of course, we learned some from our teen years if we could look back that far. And others don't date a lot, right? So this may not apply to those who didn't date a lot. But I did. I dated a lot. And I felt like looking back, hindsight's 2020, they say, I was looking for something external to fill this void, right? So maybe it was something like I really loved physical attention. I needed my ego boosted. I needed to feel valuable to someone by their external words. Not so much words, sorry. It was more so that physical attention. Like I'm touchy-feely kind of love language. And so I was looking for that in the wrong for me people, or perhaps it was the right for me people because of those experiences. I now know better today of kind of what I really need and want, and I can feel a little more confident in sharing that and being aware of those little areas where maybe I'm being pulled to an old trigger, so to speak, that really doesn't need to be part of my life, or maybe it does. But because of those experiences, I've learned more about pausing. I've learned more about personal growth and different personality disorders that each of us have based on our childhood that we maybe are still clinging to. And I do think that we will always have little pieces of our childhood we cling to, no matter how healed or how much personal growth we go through. There's always going to be something that comes up because you're still here, you're living. So there's still work to be done. That may be internal work, that may be helping other people work. But when I saw this email and I could hear my younger self pleading for space, pleading, please to just hear me and know that this is too much, right? I remember being a woman, a mom who had children who needed me, and I was tugged in so many directions after spending half a year of helping nourish this person back to at least his feet. Mentally, obviously, there was still more work for him to do, which is none of my concern or judgment. But for 6 months, I had to switch my child's lives around to be focused on this person, and it didn't feel very in gratitude, the treatment that mostly my kids got, right? That was a lot of our fights. If I could think back, it was in regards to children because he didn't have any of his own. I had 3 of my own. They had involved fathers. They didn't need a father figure. I'd been very independent for a lot of years, right? So it was a disconnect there of maybe more morals and standards and belief systems and different upbringings, right? Because I have a very close-knit family. We may not see each other all the time, but I do have people that I'm close to, my parents and my aunts, my uncles. I grew up around a very loving family, albeit I may not have agreed with them all the time, and I still maybe don't, but I know that they love me and I felt loved, and perhaps this person didn't get enough of that growing up. So it was a very clash of inner children stuff going on there. Now that I look back and realize, right, I'm not making excuses for my actions or his, but I can see how it was very heated and for me very conflicted, right? It was conflicted between this connection that I felt was, something deep I felt at the time, and what I needed to be as a mom, and how they didn't match up. So in times of distress where you're feeling that smothered in those feelings of like, listen, I'm being drawn upon something else, not someone else, I want you to remember to journal, remember to pause, and please, for the love of all lightness, do not analyze you can analyze from the human perspective, but try not to make action based on that, right? Spend time. I actually found that if I spend time staring at a candle, I light a candle. It's usually pretty dark. I leave my lights off and just have the candle on, and I stare at it, and I kind of talk to Aunt Robin. I talk to my great-grandmother who passed away not that long ago. Aunt Robin passed away a long time ago, but my great-grandmother, my uncle, and even sometimes my other half's mom. Sometimes I'll be like, Ma, are you there? Like, I'm really trying to show up and be my best self here, and I really want to guide him, your son, to be, inspired to be in his light. So I'm very connected to a lot of people because I love big, and I don't hold grudges. I'm not wired that way. I think that it hurts me, and I think it hurts others from their growth if they're going around with someone having a grudge held against them, right? So I want you to remember that there is learning in the pain, and to sit with it, right? Because just like giving birth, where we feel so much pain and we're like, we're never doing that again, we seem to do it again, right? So I don't want you to repeat relationship habits that are no longer serving you because you forgot the pain. But I also don't want you to close your mind off of someone being a possibility for you, that maybe there is some sort of soul contract that's purposeful, or maybe there's a soul contract that needs to be broken. Only you're going to know that through your guides, through connecting with Great Spirit and through your God and knowing where God is leading you. I can't tell you those answers. But I do love sharing these kind of thoughts because I feel like somebody out there today needed to hear this. And if that's you, I'm sending you much love and light because you got this. And I know it's hard to sit through it and be patient and to wait for the signs and to wait until you feel it drawn in from like somewhere above, or you see the signs, the synchronicity showing up that, hey, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do, right? It's hard to wait for those things. It's hard to trust that guide, right? Sometimes we want certain outcomes and we have certain expectations because we're so attached to this human life we built. But be patient, pray often, and sit and stare at a candlelight for a minute. See if something comes to you. I know it comes to me occasionally, not every time, okay? If it came every time, it may not be spiritual or whatever. I think it's, you get a message when you're supposed to get a message, right? When the timing is right for you, where you are to level up. I love y'all, and I hope this resonated with some of you out there, and it brings some comfort in knowing that peace does come. It takes a little bit of time. Much love. Have a beautiful day.